Well, we are live now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's great to see you. And if I don't see you, please let me see you. I have a lot of people right now that I have a name but no face. Here they come. Thank you so much for joining me. This morning we had a really good chat and some good questions. And Kathy is on, Region 1 is on with us again. Hey, Sue. Sue, it's good to see you. Julie, Tori, Brittany, Janelle, Julie, Cheryl. I see Karen. I know Jason's trying to join us. Karen, Angie, Jenny, somebody from 13217733181. Is that Hans or someone else? And then Alicia, Lucinda. So I hope you have decent weather or better temperatures than I do. It is currently really, really hot and really, really wet and really, really humid. So get this now. So this weekend I was in California at the budget meeting, and we were talking because they were expecting rain, and they were really excited because they were expecting rain. I've never been there when it rained. So fortunately for them, we had a nice slow rain most of all day on Friday. And I was talking with Janet Pantaleon, she's our financial assistant. And she said, oh my goodness, it is so hot outside. Our humidity is 30%. 30%. You know what it is in Florida? It is 100%. And I was complaining it was so dry. And I told her, I said, you don't even know what humidity was. So the story she told me was her husband being in service and was in the panhandle of Florida for a while. He loved it so much he wanted to move. And she came to visit him, and she said the first day she opened the door, she said, nope, I'm not moving here. Humidity slapping me in the face. So they went back to California. But just goes to show you, no region in the United States is for everybody. So now that I've mentioned the budget meeting, I do want you to know that I believe, and from the emails I've seen going back and forth, we had a very good, fruitful 2-day discussion, almost 8.5 hours on Friday, and I would say 6-7 hours on Saturday. Got a lot done, a lot of questions asked, and it's always good when you have discussions. So for those of you who don't understand or even know, how the budget committee is comprised, when you win your election for VP, you choose a person with financial background that will eventually become your budget chair the year that you're president. So your year as president-elect, their vice chair, and then your president year, they are the chair. And the reason we need that financial background is because of the discussion that we have, and they help us thoroughly go through the budget that staff has put together. So Brenda K. Young, who's from Nashville, Indiana, past president, IIMC President, is my chair. Terry Colwell from Michigan, retired, is Mary Ann Hesher, president-elect's vice chair. And then Lisa Garcia, who is our vice president, chose Barbara Blackard from Arkansas. So along with them, myself, Chris, Connie, I can't think of Parker, Connie Parker, she's our consultant. And then in the office is Janet Pantaleon is our financial assistant. So once staff puts everything together, makes the management notes and does a request, we have 2 full days of discussion, which that discussion goes into management, another set of management notes that goes to the IIMC board at the mid-year. And the mid-year this year is in November, Veterans Day weekend, and it's going to be in Orlando. I tried to make it somewhere really cold. I was just joking, of course, as people began to ask where we're going to meet. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm from Florida. My preference is somewhere a little cooler because it's always hot here. but I had already decided for Orlando. I thought that was a good way to get into Florida. It's so easy to fly into. Plus, it gives board members an opportunity to really be hot. But in November, it's usually nice weather. So if any of you have any questions in regards to the budget or the process or anything, I'm, more than happy to, talk about that or answer your questions. Nothing, Karen? Or you can raise your hand and we'll do what we can. If you can't think of anything, you're more than welcome to ask questions as we go along. So going from the budget meeting, my next trip will be in Oregon. And that's Tuesday, September 26th is when I leave. And there's an Athenian that I'm taking. And not that I need an Athenian because I'm a fellow, but I just can't stop taking Athenians because I believe that the discussion that we have is different. Everybody brings a different decision to the table and their own opinion. Some I agree, some I don't. I've read some yucky books that ended up being good discussions. And then I was at the June conference in FACC, and that book, Tammy Kelly from Ohio taught it. And she and I talked the night before, and I said, oh, this is the worst book I've ever read my whole life. And I had to read it because it wasn't on Audible. Audible, go to Audible, recommend Audible. And so she and I talked about it. She said, what didn't you like about it? So I said, blah, 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 blah. And she said, well, have you thought about this, and this? And I thought, wow, I had not thought from that point of view. So I told her Saturday morning, or whenever it was, Sunday morning, we did the Athenian. I said, I really thought about what you said. And I think I've changed my opinion, but I'm looking forward to the discussion. So by the end of the dialogue, I had changed the way that I looked at the book, which is what it's meant to do. So if you're open for discussion and learning different leaderships, why people do what they do, it kind of brings into your own personal experiences as you're trying to develop your leadership style. It doesn't matter what age you are. It can change or it can be better, because what we do for our citizens, as well as our city councils and as well as our leadership within our state organizations and IIMC, these dialogues actually bring all that together. And I just think it's one of the best things that IIMC ever got started. So now that I talked about Athenians, I'll segue into when they were developed for Illinois by a gentleman called Paul Craig. And this gentleman had been doing them for Illinois, and they were, really gaining popularity there. And he presented it to the IMC staff to say, what do you think about this? And this gentleman got our Athenian dialogue and training for facilitators started. So had he not brought his thought process and his idea that was working in Illinois to the whole at IMC, we wouldn't have this. So he's recently passed, and the staff and EC is going to ask the board to consider changing the Athenian Dialogue Fellowship to the Paul Craig Athenian Fellowship, since he was the person who brought it forward. And we probably could never thank him enough for giving us this additional educational opportunity. So I just wanted to let you know, if you see a different name later this year, the beginning of next year, you'll know how it got started. After I get done with Portland, going back a little bit, I shouldn't have said get done. After that conference is over on October the 1st, that Saturday, I'll be flying to Amsterdam. And I will be doing two things. I have an opportunity to spend the week with Hans Riesch. He is the Region 11 Director, one of two. And the first part of the week, I'll be joining him, believe it or not, for a student English, tour that we'll be doing in The Hague. And whatever classes they take or whatever tours they go on, I get the opportunity to do and see and be involved in that, which I thought was kind of awesome because I didn't expect it when he asked me, could I come at the beginning of the week rather than the middle of the week? So from there, we will be traveling to Utrecht. And in the Netherlands, most things are less than an hour apart because the country's so small. And in Utrecht, we will be at the VVG conference, and the VVG is the Clerk Association for the Netherlands. And I was telling Karen before we went on, I finally got the program. And it is awesome because they'll be doing tours, and with all the conversation and educational opportunities, Hans will be allowing the opportunity for me to have an interpreter because it's going to be in Dutch. So that's pretty awesome to experience this in Dutch, but to have the interpreter to understand what they're talking about. And some pretty awesome historical tours that I would otherwise not have the opportunity to experience. So that in itself is something that, thank you, Lisa, something that I would never have ever done. But, by telling you that, I would encourage you to look and see what you have going on in your life and where you want to go. And a lot of that takes planning and setting goals to see if you're even interested in being on your state board, being a state president, and then also being for your district or region director. And if you are interested, I would talk to your current region directors to see when the next rotation is around. Find out what it takes to take that step. Find out what it takes once you go off the board, if that is something you want to do, to run for vice president. Because everything that you do and every experience you have is to bring you closer to something. And it should enhance your personal life, to give you more knowledge or more friends or more associations, but especially with what IIMC, it not only gives you state affiliations and opportunities, but it gives you international opportunities. So with that said, we've been having a conversation for the Netherlands, the VVG, so to speak, to have a better understanding of what we need to begin an academy over in the Netherlands, and working to see what they need to provide us and how we need to look at the information they provide to see, pardon me, how the Netherlands can prepare their education the way that IMC needs it to be authorized so they can start getting their CMC. And that's really important because sometimes our international affiliates have felt like they've been left by the wayside when so many of us in the States are getting our CMC or our MMC. There are very few in the Netherlands. So by looking at their education and helping them build an academy, looking to see what it takes, then we're helping them to understand. The other thing we're doing in the Netherlands is beginning to look at having their first Athenian. And we're not quite there, but I'll be talking to them more because we don't have anybody in Region 11 that's a facilitator. So we would have to do something on this side, but we do have somebody interested. So that's forthcoming in trying to help them further their education and feel more a part of IMC. After all, we do say we're an International Institute of Municipal Clerks. So Renee Wiggers, who is the president and has been the president there for several years, we've had some good conversations in trying to get this started and pushing it. And I realize it is not something that happens in just 1 year. So Marianne Hess has come aboard as president-elect because this conversation will have to take place numerous times to see how we go forward and what the next steps are in order to get it accomplished. Along with that, we've also been talking to Region 10, which is Lana Anthony and Stephen Hake, about having an Athenian there, and they do have a facilitator. So our thinking is that because Canada is so vast and they have different regional affiliates, so it's not just like one Canadian IIMC. Every little district or province in Canada has their own school or whatever. So Lana's looking, Lana Anthony, one of the Region 10, is looking at a membership drive in 2023 to see how we can gather more membership and build that for the Calgary conference, which is in 2024. So if you didn't know we're going to Calgary, now you do. So save your money and start looking at flights and see if it's something that if your municipalities will not allow, or your counties will not allow, that you can help with that, maybe make a deal. So that leads me to, did you know that the IMC Foundation provides region stipends for education for every region, and it's $1,000. Did you know that you can apply for a scholarship to attend an academy, MMC or CMC? Did you also know that you can apply for a scholarship to attend the IIMC conference? And all of these things are done because of the money that IIMC members are dedicated and donate to the IMC Foundation. Now, I know I'm going to harp on this, and Kathy was with us this morning from Region 1, and she heard this, but if you join another one of these coffees, you're going to hear the same speech. And the reason you're going to hear it is because you will not have an opportunity to get these things unless you start donating to IIMC. And on your membership thing that you get, your membership form, it does ask if you're interested in donating separately $25. We don't want you to use your city money to do that once you pay your membership, but an individual check or credit card number for that $25. But you know, I have recently, thank you for my registration grant. Well, woohoo for you, Lisa. So Lisa Arpin says that she got a grant. She was the only person from Connecticut. So see what great things can happen if you're interested. But I don't know how many are on this call or Zoom or whatever you want to call it that have never bought a Starbucks medium coffee. I have bought. Cheryl, no, you've never had a coffee from Starbucks?
I'm from New England. We're a Dunks girl.
Okay, then. But when I say that, a medium coffee costs $6 and something. Now, I know I get lots of medium Starbucks coffee. Wherever it is, I usually follow it. But one thing about it, if I can afford to provide $6 for a cup of coffee, whatever coffee you get or whatever you buy, we can certainly give that $6 to the foundation. And it's not hard. All you have to do is go to the foundation website, the webpage. There's a little thing that says contributions. You click on it, and they don't care if you give 50 cents as long as you give. And it's not about the amount that you give, but it is that you give and you support not only yourself through the foundation, but you support others that may need a scholarship or a grant. I got a scholarship years ago to go to the IMC conference that I would not have been able to attend had I not received it. So I really would love for you to at least consider. You know, I might be begging by the end of the year, but I do think it's for a good reason, because without, thank you, Karen. Karen just put the website address in your chat box. But without the foundation, so many things wouldn't happen. It isn't that they only give scholarships and grants and stipends. They also provide money for education to IIMC, because they are our funding arm to provide its education. And, you know, we do our, at the May conference, we always have that silent auction. It's done online now. So you don't have to be there to go to the website and find that auction link and bid. I mean, it's pretty cool. I outbid somebody in Oregon for a person. We had the best time just going back and forth. I didn't even know who I was bidding against. But every time somebody would bid on what I wanted, it would pop up and say, you've been outbidded. So it would make me go back and, bid again. So by the time I won and I walked in the room, the vendor hall, she looked at me and I looked at her and I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was you I was bidding against. But it's just fun, and it's for a good cause. Even if it isn't something you really do want, it's for a good cause. Because in May, we raised $12,000. So when you think about the amount of money that we could do better at, maybe if more people would bid, it's all for a good cause. Anybody have any questions or comments, good or bad or ugly? You don't have to be quiet. I'm open for anybody to speak. Oh, come on, people. Surely you have something to say.
Hey,
Those
Pam,
scholarships. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I put it in the chat down there too, but the Amazon Smiles,
Yes.
got an account you can go and select. You may want to explain that because a lot of people don't know about it.
Thank you, Melissa. So if you are an Amazon member, I don't know too many people who aren't. I probably get a couple days a week. I get something or another. But buy it through Amazon Smile. And through that, you can choose a little percentage of what you purchase goes to whatever entity you decide you want that money to go to. I chose IIMC. So every time I go to Amazon and use Amazon Smile, I'm helping out IIMC. At the end of the year, you can also go back and see how much money that the members collectively gave to IMC. And that money goes through the foundation. If you didn't know, it doesn't go to IMC, it actually goes to the foundation. And that's the money. So more money we raise, the interest is what we use for all the scholarship stipends and grants. It doesn't go into anybody's pockets. We just grow it and use the interest. Lucinda, was there anything you wanted to mention?
Oh, I was just asking back to scholarships, although I was quickly writing my note to look at Amazon Smiles now. Now I forgot my question. Those scholarships are for folks that are earning their CMC or MMC,
Yes,
not for people who've already gotten MMC.
Well, if you fill out an MMC, you're going to say that you've gotten your MMC. I will say that those who are working toward either or CMC or MMC will be looked at more seriously. And the reason for that is to give them that opportunity. If you've already got your MMC, but don't not fill out an application. You never know, because every year we have money left over, every single year. And foundation wants us to use what they have there for us to use. So, you can also fill out an application for a scholarship. The scholarship is the cost of registration. So then all you have to do, you will pay up front, but it'll be reimbursed to you once the conference is over. You just have to have a letter from your entity saying that they will foot the bill for registration and for the, hotel cost. What else is left? And the airfare, of course, but the registration will be reimbursed back to your municipality, or if you pay for it personally.
Okay. Well, I have my MMC, but I'm happy to help out the foundation by helping spend their money. So
well, we want you to spend their money. That's what it's about. It enhances what we need to do to be better at our job. And only can we be better when we get the education that is offered. And saying that, if you intend to come to Minneapolis next year, which is where our 23 conference is, there will be an offering of 10 points. So normally I think we have 6, maybe 8, but this year it will be 10. If you can come early and take an Athenian Saturday and Sunday, that's 16 points, because an Athenian is 3 points. Or if you decide you want to take one of the pre-conference classes, you're offered points for that. So there's an opportunity there if you're working towards CMC or MMC to garner more points. And even if you have the institute for your CMC, you still need the 60 points for your experience. So that can bleed over into that department as well. So think about that and start talking about share a room with somebody. That's the way I usually was always able to afford to come, because, you know, you split it and it makes it more palatable to your commission or your mayor if you're willing to share a room. I've been known to have 2 or 3 people in my room, but I think it's a party and we have a good time. So some of us don't like to share, and that's okay too. But if you, you know, if you can think about it, share. I know some people don't. What else do we want to talk about? Anybody have any questions?
Pamela, this is Karen. This morning, the question came up, and I think that it's worth responding to again. This morning's question was, how early, if I'm a new member, how early should I start participating in IIMC events and education opportunities?
Okay. I would say the minute you walk in the door. So if you are looking for a new job as a deputy clerk or a city clerk or an assistant clerk, when you go for your interview, you need to start talking to them about education. What money are they going to provide so that you can continue your education, and talk to them how important it is. Once you get your position, you should walk in the door expecting to get that education and join IIMC. If you do not know, you must be a member of IIMC for 2 years before you can achieve your certification. Say you're lucky enough to get the certification, but you're not a member of IIMC, you forgot to do it, then you have to wait to get that certification acknowledged even after you go to school. So I would join immediately, and I would also do the application to get into the CMC Academy. If you're already a CMC, do the application to get into the MMC Academy. It took me 10 years to get my MMC. I hope it won't take you that long, but depending on what's going on in life, what conferences you can attend, where you are, and what is offered, sometimes it's not so easy to get those points to get your MMC. But the earlier you begin, the better off you are. You know, and I might say something else. Because it's so easy this day and age to get a college degree if you're willing to do it online. When I started mine, I was a really old person. And I went to the campus the first year I went to the campus to take my classes. The last 3 years, I took 1 class every semester to go to the campus, but the rest was online. And yeah, it took a lot of hard work and diligence in the evening, but I truly believe it can be done. And not only does that mesh with what you're doing, but it also changes your mindset. Talk about leadership, which is what we're all involved in now. If you have a staff that you manage, the more you go to school, the more conversations you have, the more education that you're willing to achieve. This is going to make you a better clerk. It's also going to, I would never believe this, because I always said I'd go and get my degree when my son graduated from high school, from college himself. Well, he graduated and I didn't go. And I said, oh, I'll get it here. Oh, I'll get it later. And finally, I had an epiphany. I was going to go to the grave if I didn't hurry up and do something about it. So if I can get my education in my late 50s and graduate in my early 60s, there isn't one person on this call that cannot do that. And I'm so proud, because talking about mindset, I thought, it's not going to make a difference, but this is a goal. I'm going to go through it. But once I got that degree, it was like, oh my gosh, my mindset and the way that I thought and the way I did my work and the way I worked with people completely changed. Now, that's a goal I had. It may not be a goal that you've got, but I would encourage you to look where you want to go in life. It doesn't matter the age, professionally and personally, and decide what you need to accomplish those things and go after it, because you're the only person that is stopping you from doing that. Because it's scary when you step out and do something new. Even if you join a committee for IIMC or your state organization and you've never been a member, it's scary because now we're having to step up and to do something about joining that committee and joining the conversation. And if you're interested, it will soon be time to fill out an application for the IMC committees. And the deadline will be sometime in January. So start thinking about that. Everything is done via Zoom. It's easy. We all know how to do Zoom. You're on this Zoom. So you get a point every year if you're looking for points for committee involvement. At your state level, if you have committees, do the same thing. You get another point. So that's 2 points a year that you can get in order to further your certification. And even if you have your certification, what does it hurt to stay involved in your state organization and particularly IMC? We need people to step up and join the ranks, that you have different ideas, different discussions in order to further what IMC is all about. And that's all about its members. And as you go off into whatever sunset you're looking for, there will be somebody to take your place. So you should be mentoring people, and you should have a succession plan on how you want things to go once you leave your office. That's to me, that's one of the most important things we do, is we mentor the generation coming after us. So I would encourage you as a city clerk not to hold that information, but to share it and let those that you lead become a better person, or a better person that they can be for you, because the more they learn, the more they can do for you. I know I'm on a soapbox, I'm sorry. Have we talked about the foundation yet? I think we talked about enough. So I have something here where somebody wanted to hear about a new deputy clerk obtaining their CMC. You know, as a deputy clerk, it's all about who your clerk is and what relationship you can establish with him or her. You know, I just mentioned, if you are the city clerk and you are a leader, to allow those deputy city clerks or assistant city clerks get that education and share with them, because they're the people who are going to be there probably when you leave. But as a deputy clerk, it's up to you to prove to your city clerk what type of clerk you want to be. You know, I always say, dress for the job that you want. So if you're a clerk and you kind of dress down and you're a deputy clerk, then show your city clerk you're very serious about your job. And part of that is the way we reflect ourselves to that person that is our boss, so to speak, and develop that relationship so that you can move forward. And sometimes they don't know how serious you are, even though you may have that position. So I would just say, you know, step out of your comfort zone and see where you can go. But part of that is setting the goal of what you want to do and being serious about setting that goal. I'm going to look and see who's calling me. Just a minute. Okay, just want to make sure it wasn't my boss, because I definitely would have to answer his phone call. Is there anything that anybody particularly would, what can we do as a small city to assist IIMC? Same thing a big city can do. Give to the foundation. Be interested enough to attend our conferences, either virtually, joining the Athenian. You know, it only takes 10 Athenian dialogues to become a fellowship. And that is something you can do virtually. IMC board passed that last year or the year before, that you could get your your Athenian fellowship by virtual. And it is not hard to take 10 virtual Athenians. I've got 3 or 4 lined up between now and the end of the year. Excuse me, I'm going to have to stop. Karen, can you talk a minute?
I sure can talk a minute. One thing that I wanted to be sure to say is as much as IIMC staff like to think that we're the best resource ever for clerks, the truth is that clerks are the best resource for clerks. And so we try to get clerks to participate as much as possible because it is a contribution to the whole community. And I would ask how many people on this Zoom would agree that that is the case, that clerks are the best. Yes. So I'm really glad for this opportunity to say that publicly. One thing, oh, Pamela's back.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to make a plug for our newly launched professional development program, online professional development program that Dr. Rodriguez has designed and launched this spring. And it's been going really well. We've received great feedback, and that is, of course, going to continue into 2023. And Pamela, you've taken courses in that program.
I have, ethics and something else, but both of them were superb. And it's not necessarily interactive. I think the two that I taught were clearly webinars, but I did get an awful lot, and you could do your chat thing. And then now when you register, if you cannot take them the day that they're offered, you can go back to the IIMC YouTube and they'll be offered that way. And you still can fill out the ideas to action and whatever they want you to fill out to get that certificate and that point, because they're 2 hours. So 2 hours equals 1 point. You can do that as well. So if you go on the website, and I was just looking at the e-notes earlier today that we released, both of those classes are there. Plus there's a free class in December. There is no excuse for not taking a free class. So I would encourage you to look at the News Digest and the e-notes that usually come out on Wednesday and read and see what we have available. Oh, for God's sake. But because that way you can learn more. If you don't even need a point, I take them, I don't need a point, but why would I want to sit there and go, oh, I'm an MMC, so I don't need any more points? That's hurting me, because the more I learn, and all this is leadership, that's exactly what it is. So now that we talked about leadership, in the budget committee, we found out that the program that we were calling the IIMC Beyond, MMC Beyond, is going to go to the board at the mid-year in Orlando, and it's ready to be released. And it is called, oh my goodness, the acronym is PLUS. You might know I've shifted my paperwork around. Here it is. So the acronym stands for Professional Leadership United in Service. And this is going to be a program that we will release, where I have asked that a letter go out to every MMC and their boss people, whoever that might be, city council, mayor, city manager, and the clerk, to say, you have a clerk that has their MMC. IIMC has developed a new program. This is what it is. This is what it requires. Now, it won't give you a new acronym behind your name, but it will be in stages. So it's not going to take you a year. You'll accomplish over 3 to 6 years, something every year, in order to get through this program. There's a minimal fee to it. There's a couple of incentives somewhere along the way. So I would encourage you to look out for it, if you're an MMC, to apply for it. We're talking to this foundation about hopefully, I said hopefully, a separate scholarship for it. So we haven't gotten through those conversations, and that there will be more information to come. So just look for 2023 for this to be released, so that as an MMC, you can join the first class and see, how it is, pushing it forward. You might could do some advertisement for us, because this is a new thing. And Dr. B. Rodriguez, who has been with us a year now, has done an excellent job, along with Kelly Sixon and Jay. I can't remember Jay's last name, Karen. Do you remember it?
Ulrich.
Ulrich. She is the person that took Ashley's place, but Jay is getting her doctorate. And we met her this weekend, and I'm telling you, this young lady has so many ideas, it is scary. So they are looking at a lot of different things to provide. And it was Dr. Rodriguez who came up with the new online courses, doing at least two every quarter. So that gives you 8 additional points every year on top of everything else that you're getting, if you so choose to take the time. So now that you don't have to be there in person the very day, maybe you have a council meeting, commission meeting, or your boss is in and you don't have that 2 hours, you can still register for it. The cost is minimal, it's $50. And you can go in at your leisure and complete the task and the paperwork to get that point. But it couldn't be made any easier to give you an opportunity. I'm sorry, Cheryl, I just saw your hand raised.
No, that's okay. Continue.
I'm done.
Okay. I love your ideas about the online professional development program. Is that separate from the Professional Leadership United in Service?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to the last IMC Digest or eNotes, you will see on front and center.
Okay. And because I'm in the middle of doing a lot of succession planning, because I have another 3.5 years before I retire.
Okay.
So I am trying to get as much education and training in for my staff.
Awesome.
And so I like that they can do the online class. So that's
Yes.
one of the biggest difficulties we have right now is we have clerks in Florida that want to have more online classes, but we can't, because of funding and money, we just don't have, we can't do both. We just did approve a reduction in Athenian for the online ones for $50 because we noticed that we weren't being competitive with other states and regions. But I think this is great ideas.
Well, if you think about, we can't take all online because sometimes we don't have time when they're provided. And so B did her first couple, and I think it was the first 4, and you had to do it in person when it was offered. So we started talking about the ability to put it on our YouTube channel, paying for it whenever, it's offered, and then taking it later, which gives you an opportunity not to have to sit there when you can't sit there, because not all of our schedules work out. So I thought that was an awesome idea that she was willing to accept and going forward. And there will be more offered as we go forward. I mean, she's going to have 4 a year. This year, I would imagine we had 2, 4, 6. She probably, by the time we get to the end of the year with the free one, will have had 9 this year. So that gives you an ability to, to earn points.
And you might want to talk to Kathy because in New England, when you go to Amsterdam, in New England, we had our own academy that we ran, the clerks ran. And each state had 2 representatives that were on the board. And we did all the work from hiring the teachers to get in the location to the logistics to everything. So that might be more cost effective for Amsterdam because they probably won't have an FLC to manage everything for them.
You're right, they do not.
Right.
So what we did talk to them about, they do take classes, but none of those classes have been, and it's for their clerking position, but none of them have been given to IMC with the description, what we need in order to look at in order to approve. So that is part of what we're talking about, is helping them understand that you just can't say, I'm going to do a leadership class and get credit for it. We actually we go to the process, through our state and get, if you're with an institute of government, and the institute gets it approved through IIMC. So that's what we're working with them right now. It is a difficult conversation that in translating, because they're a little, I don't want to say higher than we are, but their responsibility is different not in what they do, but how they interact with their governmental officials. It's on a higher level. I wish we had I wish we were recognized, I should say, that's a better word. I wish we were recognized by our elected officials the way that they are recognized by theirs. And maybe with training, we can learn what they do, you know, to get that recognition. And a lot of it is the way that the government is structured. I learned that when I was over there.
You're absolutely correct, because when I was in Massachusetts as a clerk, we were considered really high up there, and everybody came to us for everything. We were considered more professional. Here, not so much. But I also did a class for my master's in Dublin, and they're structured totally different. And it was interesting to see, even the elections were done totally different. But yeah, I took a class on comparative policy, so I got to see the differences. And so, you know, New England is totally different from the job here in Florida.
Well, we got a lot to learn from each other, don't we? And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's all about sharing ideas and networking, and I think we're doing actually pretty darn well.
I think we do too, but you know, one thing I think as women and being clerks that we probably fail at the most is not patting ourselves on the back for the job that we do, not bringing ourselves forward and saying, hey, I am a part of the team, and not allowing people to treat us less than we truly are. You know, and it's difficult when somebody comes to you and says, I'll give you just a small, for instance, will you make this copy for me? And they have an executive assistant sitting there. You know, we don't have to be negative in what we say. I would love to help you, but I'm involved in this, but I'm sure Pamela, your assistant, would be more than happy to do that. What we do normally is we don't say anything and we go and make the copy. You know, and in a roundabout way, we have to find a way to bring ourselves forward so that we get the respect that we deserve. Mm-hmm. And we all have to find that individual way. Just because I have a way and I'm more outspoken or aggressive doesn't mean it's right for the next person. So each person has to find their way. But education helps us to get that, I think, helps us to help elevate ourselves, you know, and learning how leadership and the type of leadership that leadership style that we have versus what our city manager has in leadership style, you know, so it's all in learning. So every day we should learn something different. Anybody have anything else? We are at 12 minutes. So I'll go ahead and tell you about my trips for the rest of the year. If there's something before I do, somebody asked, will there be any movement toward a professional college degree for municipal clerks? My first thought is probably not. However, when you get it at, what was I saying earlier, Karen? When you get a, oh, for heaven's sakes, the type of degree.
You spoke earlier with me on the phone about a public administration degree.
Public administration. See, I had a brain freeze. That's what happens when you get old. But public administration is the closest thing to getting some type of degree. But that goes with a municipal clerk, a city manager, an attorney can get that. And that degree probably is the closest that you'll get in order, you know, to say whatever degree you need. But I don't believe there will ever be a municipal clerk degree as such. Heck, they don't even teach that in any civic lesson that I've ever been in, although we're the oldest profession, you know, in the United States and Europe, because we started in the Roman times. But let's see, where am I going next? I am going the last of October, 1st of November, myself, past President Sherry, and past President Mary Johnston, because she was the COVID president. We're going to SLCC, which is in England. another affiliate organization that we have, and we will be attending their conference as well as the European Management Committee that will be putting on the 2023 symposium in Amsterdam. And then there will be a trip to Bruges in Belgium. So it will be around the middle of September in 2023. So if you think you want to go on a trip and join the rest of us, it's going to cost for the whole trip, which is a week, includes your meals, the tour, your hotel, except for what goodies you might purchase, about $3,000. And then your flight going over there, but it's well worth it. And you actually meet with any of our affiliates in European countries that come to that. We're expecting, as far as I know, Belgium, England, the Netherlands, a lot of people in the United States, and hopefully some other European countries that will join us. But you learn about the area and their government, and it's well worth the money, you know. So you've got a little kitty, start putting money away so that you can join us for that. And pretty soon, something should be released about, you know, if you want to go, you fill out a form to let them. If you don't see anything come across, just email Chris Shelby at chris@imc.com, and Karen's going to put that up and tell them you'd like to go on the list. If something happens that you're unable to go, then you'll just let him know later that your intent was to go, but you can't. You know, things happen in life, even when we plan. But in October, we'll be going there. And then Mary and I are going to take a side trip for 2 days to London. I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm going to see my son for Thanksgiving. Yay. I'm really excited about that. And then I will be going to Mississippi for Region 4 and Anchorage, Alaska for Region 9. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And then for 2023 thus far, Region 2 in January, Region 1 in March, Region 3 in February, Washington in March, and in April there's I want to say Alberta, but the Alberta conference in Canmore, Canada is happening. So far, that's all the travel I'm doing, but it's awesome, don't you think? Woo, I'm excited about it. To be able to meet different clerks in their area of the world and be able to experience what they see every day. And I you know, that's the best thing about being president, is having that opportunity to get those invitations and to be able to travel and to meet more of you. Because the more that you meet, the more you learn about what their expectations are, the more you can bring back to the table and say, hey, this is what our members are expecting. This is what our members are looking for, because they talk to you a little bit more when they're on their own turf. And, you know, your region directors are there with you. If you have a region director that you don't know, or you do, or you don't and find out from another member, reach out to them. They're there to help you. And I might also ask you, join your IIMC region Facebook page. That's how you get information. That's how you find out who got their CMC and MMC, or what's going on, or your conference, or I post on them as I'm traveling this year. If you're interested, sign up. And your directors will send you information that will make a difference in knowing about what your region's doing. And that way, if you have to come back and ask a question, you're dealing directly with them, and they'll be able to provide you. They are your voice on the board. And if they're not providing you information, let me know and I'll be talking to them. But so far, when I've been on their pages, and you're getting newsletters because I'm getting your newsletters, it is pretty awesome what the job that we're doing. But they are your advocate. And if you have a question, you want to know something, be sure to contact them. And when you look at the news digest that comes out on the second or third page, it tells you what region you're in and who your directors are. And it also gives you their email address. So you can always contact them that way as well. We're down to 5 minutes, guys. Is there anything that you want to know that I haven't talked about, or you have something to say or whatever? You have 5 minutes. Oh, come on. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate it.
I know we have some region directors joining us today.
We do. Thank you. We got Sue from Region 1. We did have Kathy from Region 1. We have Tori and Travis from Region 3. I don't see anybody else. Lee Frazier, Region 3. Hey, Lee, I didn't even know you were on.
Hey,
There you go. There's Lee. Anybody else you can see that I can't see, Karen?
Kathy's here.
Yeah, I said Kathy.
Oh, you say Kathy.
Yeah. Lee, do you want to say anything?
not really. I was actually driving, so I couldn't put my face up, but I just enjoyed traveling with you, actually, because you've been in Region 3 and we had a chance to go to several meetings with you. It's just been an awesome ride so far, and I look forward to your leadership throughout the rest of the year.
Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. Lee, Tori, and I have been together twice, June in Florida and August in North Carolina. And we did have a good time talking to people and partying and banqueting. And we went on a side trip. And, you know, he's right. It has been really awesome. We got 3 minutes. Anybody else have anything to say?
Thank you for doing this. I think this idea was great.
Thank you, Cheryl. Well, I hope you join us again, because we will be doing this again throughout the year. I hope you don't get tired of me talking about the IIMC Foundation, because that is a true passion. And I truly believe it is something that we need to step up as members. And I want you to join a committee. I want you to get your points for your certification. If there's anything you need, most of you have my email address. If not, Karen, if you wouldn't put it up for the Lee Gov address, you're welcome to email me. Chris is available. Any of the staff of IMC is available at a drop of a hat. Now, if they don't answer their phone, leave them a message. You can go online and ask for an appointment if you have any questions. So don't hesitate. Use us if that's what you need to do to get the information that you need in order to make you a better clerk, a more educated clerk that you can take back to your state to be advocates as you're involved in IMC, but also be advocates for your own state and the people that represent you at the state level. And I hope that you'll think about what your goals will be, and you'll go forward to be more, to be better, and to, you know, be happier in life and be the best person that you can be. It's not so easy when you're a younger clerk to have that type of mindset. As I've gotten older, I have realized that that's the best thing I can do for myself, is to be the best I can for me and to make myself happy. By doing that, everything else seems to fall into place. So until we meet again, I wish you lots of luck. We got 1 minute if anybody wants to say anything. And if there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to let me know. And for those that I'm going to be traveling to, I can't wait to get the information. I'm already looking for maybe staying a day over here and there. You know, you never know, but just let me know how I can assist. And I wish you the best going forward for the holidays, and just be careful and enjoy your family. I think that's it for today.
Thank you.